Yeah, we came too far. In the darkest days, don't know where we are or who we are. Yeah, we came too far. In the darkest days, don't know where we are or who we are. Yeah, we came too far. In the darkest days, don't know where we are or who we are. Yeah, we came too far. In the darkest days.
Hi, what up, y'all? Planet of Fake Business here, and it looks like the Aunt Jemima family of the true lady that, modeled for the brand. They want Quaker to keep it under the Aunt Jemima name. They don't care what people say. They don't care. They're not supporting canceling cultures. Plus, they get royalties off it. They get to talk about their ancestors and tour around the world and talk about it. So there is a family that's going to be impacted by the name of Aunt Jemima. Also, a student at a Trump rally brought up Aunt Jemima and claimed that it's another example of culture canceling or cancel culture syndrome. Do you agree? This is what I say. I say Quaker being its own business, they have a right to name their product what they want, when they want, and if they want to change it for whatever reason, they could change it. I'm not going to guilt them into not changing it. I'm not going to guilt them into changing it. All I can do as a customer is no longer use it. And yes, people have used Aunt Jemima in a derogatory term, but what's to say they won't pick a new one? And also, for all the people that's saying that it's an American dream to be a mascot for a company you don't own, y'all obviously don't know what the American dream is. Trump ain't never have to be a mascot, and he reached the American dream. Why, when it comes to other cultures and races, we got to do the most demeaning things for legitimate money, and then that be considered the climax of our existence? A lot of people will say Aunt Jemima is more famous and successful than modern day celebrities, actors, athletes, or whoever you want to name it. And it may be true. But look at what they did to get their money and how they will live on. And look at how, the woman that portrayed Aunt Jemima gets looked at. Ain't nobody going to disrespect somebody by saying, get your old Kobe Bryant butt out of here. Nobody's going to look at that as disrespect. Get your Michael Jordan butt out of here. Get your Sean P. Diddy Combs butt out of here. But once you hear, get your Aunt Jemima butt out of here, why don't people feel that respect? Maybe because they're not like the family getting a check or touring, speaking of their ancestors' struggle. So it's all in the eyes of the perceiver, you know what I mean? And with that being said, let me know what you think. Is the family wrong for trying to persuade Quaker not to change the name? Is the public wrong for wanting the name changed? And is this student at the Trump rally wrong for bringing it up at a Trump rally? Out of all the issues people have, why did she bring up the Aunt Jemima? You understand? If it bothers a group of people and that group of people are making it vocal, what that got to do with the Trump rally? You know what I mean? And that's what I ask. So check the video out. Let me know what you think. Put it in the comments. With that being said, what you heard and saw was the content. For additional content, click the link in the description. Like, follow, share, subscribe, comment. Hit the bell, visit my community wall, and if you have time, go to www.amore-eka.com/TV. That's our Planet of Fakes too. We are the new umbrella, Planet
of the Fakes. And Pigstar HH News. Aunt Jemima's family is begging the company not to change its name. Quaker Foods North America has identified one of its most popular brands, Aunt Jemima, for perpetuating a racist stereotype of black people. Because it shows the woman as a mammy, and acknowledged that the brand that has earned them millions of dollars has origins based on a racial stereotype, the company felt it was time to modernize their offering. But the family of the original woman used to create the logo does not want her face to disappear from the packaging because the role of Aunt Jemima made her a cult hero in Texas. The image of Aunt Jemima on the packaging is actually Lillian Richard, who worked for Quaker Oats brand for 23 years of her life starting in 1925. Although the company announced that it would be rebranding Aunt Jemima to something less racist, the family of Richard does not want them to remove her face entirely. A second cousin of Lillian Richard, Vera Harris, has stepped forward to fight back against the proposed change. She doesn't want her distant relative's face removed from the packaging because she has become a cult hero in Texas for her role in the brand's development over the years. Few black women were able to get work prior to the civil rights movement. However, Quaker Oats found a way to exploit Lillian Richard back in the 1920s and turn her face into an iconic brand. But do you think Richard's family received their fair share of the profits? Vera Harris fears that her family will lose their claim to fame if Richard's face is stripped from the Aunt Jemima brand packaging. There is even a historical marker dedicated to Richard in her hometown of Fouke, Texas. Since she was one of few black women to get work in racist America, she was honored to be such an influencer for the Aunt Jemima brand. But was she truly breaking ground, or was she just being used because she fit a convenient stereotype? Harris is speaking out so people get a complete view of who Richard was and how her placement on Aunt Jemima's packaging was a big deal for her and her family. A lot of people want it removed, Harris told KLTV. We want the world to know that our cousin Lillian was one of Aunt Jemima's, and she made an honest living. We would ask that you reconsider just wiping all that away. There wasn't a lot of jobs, especially for black women back in that time. She was discovered by Quaker Oats to be their brand person. She made an honest living out of it for a number of years. She toured around Texas. She was considered a hero in Hawkins, and we are proud of that. We do not want that history erased. Another woman, Anna S. Harrington, a former sharecropper, began playing Aunt Jemima in 1935 and reached national recognition. Her great-grandsons sued Quaker Oats in 2014 because the brand failed to pay Nancy Green, the enslaved woman whose face was used for the original Aunt Jemima brand back in 1834. Full video link in the description. Like, follow, share, subscribe, and comment, hit the bell. And, if you have time, thank you very, very, very much. Go to
I'll put that aside as I bring in Dan Gasby here to talk about this. Dan, you started the petition drive in 2017 to get rid of the Aunt Jemima branding. You're also the co-founder of B. Smith Enterprises, which, among other things, operates a chain of restaurants. And what's your reaction, Dan, when you hear someone saying that Aunt Jemima is the American dream?
Well, it could be the American dream or the American understanding for someone who doesn't understand what it's like to be an African American or to have witnessed people call someone Aunt Jemima and the derogatory way in which it's used. It's a slur. It has been a slur to women of color, black women in particular. I've had that situation happen in my restaurant, and I've had people, both black and white, understood what it meant and escorted people who were making that derogatory comment about one of the people who happened to have worked for me. And so understanding that B felt very strongly when we were in the business of looking at the opportunities that might happen with opening a supermarket and doing some research, finding a young lady who was actually buying the product, and she didn't know who or what she was. And it bothered B because B understood what Aunt Jemima represented, as most African-American women do. And as I've said in the past, and I'll say again, there are very few, if any, African-American women that want their children to be called Aunt Jemima or want to be called Aunt Jemima themselves. So for that young lady in that rally to sit there and talk about that, she's never had anyone call her the N-word. She's never had the weight of 400 plus years of oppression. She's never had to deal with, as I say, you pay for the paint job, being a person of color. And so it's easy for her from 30,000 feet and from a nice warm perspective to see that as something that warms the cockles of her heart and her history. But that history, like Robert E. Lee or like Calhoun or like Jefferson Davis, has not been one that has been for all people, and certainly not for people of African descent in America.
Than they previously thought. Did you all hear what I just said? They played a heavy Berkeley, this sister right here, this assistant professor, guess what she found out? She combed through data from the 1850s and the 1860s census and revealed that white women made up around 40% of slaveholders. Somebody please put 40% in the chat.
You keep asking me that. First, because you're dressed up like a disco babe from Botswana. And second, you haven't said a word about Dwayne.
Kimberly, why do women feel that they have to define themselves in terms of men? From now on, sisterhood is my solace. Maya Angelou, Leontine Price, Marian Anderson, Angela Davis. We must use these women as examples to keep us strong. Now,
Whitley, what is this?
Mammy. She's part of my exhibit. From Mammy to modern times.
Oh, my.
About how African American women have struggled to survive. She's a part of who we are.
She's a part of me? I don't think so. No way.
She's a powerful symbol of our struggle, Lena.
She's right, my sisters.
Did you just agree with me?
Disturbing, isn't it?
Lena, have you ever read a real-life slave journal?
You know, I've been meaning to.
Why don't you carry your little ignorant behind to the Gilbert Archives? You could learn something about slavery and the Civil War and my fantastic family.
I'm not going to learn anything about myself by looking at this.
That's right. Kimmy, in order to neutralize a stereotype, we have to reclaim it.
Yeah, she's right. It's called reappropriating the symbols of our oppressors.
Thank you, my sister.
Don't push it. Just because they put her face on a pancake box, that doesn't mean that's who she really was.
Ready? Mammy is a racist stereotype, period. That smile is not laughter, it is fear.
Well, if it wasn't for Mammy, you wouldn't be here.
Thank you, Mr.
All Mammy did was cook up the victuals.
Well, that's all I do for you. Well, you know, some black people forget their folklore. Now, that's what makes us strong.
Even if it's demeaning.
Oh, please, honey, I don't look like that. Y'all don't look like that. I say get a mirror and get a sense of humor.
Well, some of us don't think it's funny, Gina.
I know, honey, all of us have our crosses to bear. Personally,
I've often been told I look just like Lena Horne.
You are tired. You are sick. Truly tired.
Dwayne, would you stop thinking about Whitley?
Hey.
Planet of the Fakes business. And Pigstar HH. News. Aunt Jemima's family is begging the company not to change its name. Facebook opinions. In the TV show A Different World, which was a spin-off of The Cosby Show, college students put on a festival honoring Mammy. Their position was that Mammy was a historical figure who was to be revered. Commercializing Mammy is different, though. Quaker should make donations to historical black colleges or other causes for using the image. Her just saying Aunt Jemima sounded silly. If your heart isn't in what you say, or if you are so obviously removed from the ground of culture, please don't pretend. If that were a point to be made, someone who actually understood the point should have made it. Nancy Green's family is fighting to keep her picture on it. To me, it's nobody else's business. Then they should name it Nancy Green's syrup. That will remove the derogatory history of Mammy, Aunt Jemima. Sublet Lauren B. proved that it is Nancy Green's family that is fighting to keep her picture on it. Especially since they haven't used Nancy Green's picture on the bottle since she stopped modeling for them in 1923. The picture has been changed at least 3 times. The last change was in 1989. Look it up, Donna Mack. I also think they should put her story on the label. Sublet Lauren B. She was one of at least 3 models to represent the fictional character Aunt Jemima. It's not Nancy's family fighting, it's another model's. Seriously, look it up, Sublet Lauren B. Why do you think they are doing that? I'll tell you, they ARW cashing checks. Sublet Lauren B. She was a model for them, it isn't her recipes. There were at least 5 different models hired to sell the product. None of them had any vested interest in the product, except to be paid to make appearances. Her story has nothing to do with the racist name of the product, nor does sharing it validate the racism. They called our women gal. When they got older, they called them aunt. Just like the men were boy until they became old, then they were called uncle. Both were terms of servitude, not endearment. Y'all who think otherwise, go look at the photos of some slaves. Make sure you look into their eyes. Changes in branding were a corporate decision, same as naming a car. Those who are bleeding hearts over this, move on, and get over this like you do everything else that changes. By the way, how much is the insurance on your Model T? Not being racist has to be taught from childhood, and it cannot be erased by bringing down statutes, history. Those who think that way may control not to be obvious but can't not be demand to them not to think that way. It is like to tell those criminals that they cannot be criminal by breaking windows, demonstrate, scream. Racist is a mental problem and behavior like being a criminal that have no conscience about other people's right and think they are better than others and they can kill, steal, but they have to have all the rights when it comes to them. We need to start teaching our children from early years to not become racist or criminals. Meanwhile, her family said this is a disgrace to her legacy. But who cares about what they think? Let's please all the whining people that think this is somehow racist. Full video link in the description. Like, follow, share, subscribe, and comment, hit the bell. And, if you have time, thank you very, very, very much. Go to www.
A student at President Trump's rally in Phoenix took issue with the rebrand as a whole, calling this the latest example of cancel culture.
Aunt Jemima was canceled. And if you didn't know, Nancy Green, the original first Aunt Jemima, she was a picture of the American dream. She was a freed slave who went on to be the face of the pancake syrup that we love and have in our pantries today. She fought for equality, and now the leftist mob is trying to erase her legacy. And might I mention how privileged we are as a nation if our biggest concern is a bottle of pancake syrup?
I don't think that is the biggest concern.
What up, y'all? Planet of the Fakes, King of Content. Thank you for looking at my video. And also, I need y'all to basically follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is it ain't even POTF. It's just planet_of_the fakes. Planet_of_the fakes. Subscribe to all my channels too. Mainly Planet of the Fakes, Umbrella Corp, POTFS, Planet of the Fakes Women Group, Planet of the Fakes 4KDZ, and make sure you like us on Facebook. Just put POTFS Global News. Thanks for watching our video, and definitely make sure you visit www.amordachica.com/TV, and that's basically where you see thousands of videos on our website, unflaggable, uncopyrightable. You could be there too. Just get your content together. King of Content, Queens of Content, Planet of the Fakes too. We are a platform. With that being said, what you heard and saw was the content. For additional content, click the link in the description. Like, follow, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell, visit my community wall, and if you have time, go to www.amor-chica.com/TV. That's our Planet of the Fakes too. We are the new umbrella, Planet of. And I wanted to bring some things to your attention. Oh, you know I'm going to follow that. You know I'm going to follow that. I'm going to follow that. Oh, I'm definitely going to follow that. I'm following that. I'm following that. Following that. Skip, 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 skip. Skip, 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 skip. Oh, I'm following that. 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 Oh, I'm following that. I'm following